Alrighty, welcome back everyone. I am Blaze here. Today's video is on the best class and race combinations for Bard, Enchanter, Berserker, and Beastlord. Let's get into it. First class we'll discuss today is Beastlord. They were added in the Luckland expansion. By that point, your faction and your stats are largely irrelevant, so more just pick what race you like the most. But there are some benefits with picking some over others. For example, if you pick Ogre, they do have frontal stun immunity, and they also have the best melee starting stats coming out the gate. Iksar and Troll have a boost regeneration rate. But in the poll we had, most people actually voted Vashir, the cat race. That's also dropped in the Luckland expansion, and the next was Iksar. So some of the comments, we got Big Daddy saying Iksars are always the way to go. I really like them just because of that regen bonus, and they also have an armor class bonus. And by this point in time in the Luckland expansion, your faction, your complete hatred by everybody doesn't matter that much with Iksars. And Chris S, Ogre, frontal stun, definitely does help keep your pet alive. With Vindavin, I had a 65 Ogre Beastlord on Talion Zek. Love being large and a large bear so my enemies could not escape the zone. Small hallways like Plane of Justice or Lower Gunk. And yeah, there's actually Wood Elf. You can rock a Wood Elf Beastlord, which is kind of weird. And the Beastlords used to have specific pets based upon what race you were. So I guess Trolls had crocodile pets. Iksars had like the little doggies, Chocodies. Barbarian because they are tall with an eye patch. Dwarf, they have the strongest pet, the gnome. The gnome pet has the highest intelligence, although humans a close second with their halfling pets. It's true. My Beastlord was bear fetish, ogres for life. And then Wood Elf option was left out. Yeah, the YouTube polls, they only let you put in 5 options, otherwise I would have thrown them in. Next class, the Berserker. The last class added to the game in the Gates of Discord expansion, and especially by this point, your stats and your faction really don't matter, so just pick whatever you like. But Trolls here have their enhanced regeneration abilities, and Ogres have that frontal stun immunity. But most people in the polls voted for Barbarians first, Ogres second, then Dwarf number 3. Some of the comments for Berserker: Michael Walker, being of unlimited rage, able to tap into that energy to wildly unleash chaos on the battlefield, unable to control their anger, savage, ferocious, barbaric, shall we say? Yep, barbarian makes the most sense according to tradition. Druel, F, any of the above. By this point in the game, race no longer matters. I picked Vashir because of the tail. Then I'm sure we're all going to be in agreement here, with the answer being quite obvious. The race that champions the Berserker is definitely not the Dwarf. It's not even the Dwarf Troll. I don't even know. Dave, Dwarf Barrel Roll, need we say any more? Zach, Troll is the best race for everything. We're about to have a flame war in that comment section. Next one is Bard, and on this one, there's really only one difference here if you pick race. It's humans just have poor night vision, which definitely does matter on P99. It's really hard to see. So if night vision is a problem, Half-Elf and Wood Elf are what you would want to pick. Half-Elves are like the most mixed starting stat-wise, so they'd be the most balanced. Humans are probably a bit more better on melee. But from the polls, actually most people just said Illusion 24/7. Then it was almost a tie between Half-Elf and Wood Elf. And when I think of illusion difficulty, because Bards can get the illusions for all the different races, pretty much. Wood Elf is the easiest illusion to get, and that comes from a quest line in Plains of Power. Half-Elf can be soloed, but it's a very rare drop item in Jagged Pine Forest. It's a major pain in the butt, but it can be done solo. It's just a huge time sink. The human illusion comes out of Vex Thal. It's an all clicky. That one might be the hardest illusion to get. So if you're going to start a Bard and focus on getting all the illusions, human might be the one you want to go with. But for Bard comments, for James B, human eye patch, Fabio Chad, all the way. Ian Ian Finley, Dwarf, because it's all about that base. All about that base. Dave picked Illusion, because why not? There's plenty to choose from. Gnome being the best, followed by Iksar, but race I chose in 2000, still rocking, is Wood Elf. Big Daddy Half Elf, because they start in Freeport, so do humans. But if you like being a human, lame. And really, if you don't like it, illusions are fun. Isaac Moores, Half Elf, best of both, master of none. And I like that, because, you know, bards are the master of none, the jack of trades of all. If you are going to be the bard class, you want to be the jack of all trades when it comes to the race. The Curmudgeon Gamer, Eye Patch, human, greater than all, Bashir, and then I thought all bards were dark elves. That is true with the illusion mask. And the last class we'll be covering today is Enchanter. From the polls, most people actually went for High Elf, and the next was Dark Elf. But starting stat-wise, the race that has the most intelligence, the race that would have the biggest mana pool would be Erudite. But the best balance, you also want Charisma as an Enchanter, because that is a very important stat for you. The highest Charisma race is High Elf, and High Elves are about 4th, but they're still very high on intelligence. But for Enchanter, fortunately, faction doesn't matter because you can illusion to basically everything. As long as you stay agnostic on your deity, you're completely fine. Vindavin says Dark Elf. Why? Because hide. It's great to have a way to break charms prior to Kunark. The instant invisibility item, the Goblin Gazuki Ring, I actually have on my bard. And that's actually a very, very good point. The only race out of all these options that has a way to instantly break charm, not guaranteed, but it would be Dark Elf here. Also, the origin for Dark Elf, Neriak has the access to all non-research classic Enchanter spells, except some of the high keep ones, and 10 seconds away from the bank, 5 seconds away from research vendors, 15 seconds away from jewelry vendors. Yep, if you're an Enchanter, you're going to be doing a lot of trade skilling, ideally. That's the best class to do it. Quick access to common lands for auctions and ports. And flavor. Being evil and then illusion to non-evil race to vendor is pretty fun and good stats. I really like that post there. Seth, Dark Elves get hide, which is hit or miss, but it's still nice. You get full EXP with charms 50% of the time if you don't want to time invisibility. High Elf has the best stats. Everyone rolls this race, so you won't be special. Drew L. If I recall correctly, Dark Elves can be grinding out Steins and Magok as early as level 8. Half Elves wouldn't be able to do it until 12. And Ian Finley, Dwarf. Nothing more enchanting than a female dwarf with a beard. The Curmudgeon Gamer, always human, always eye patch. And then my favorite comment of all these posts so far, of all these classes, go gnome or go home. That is it. So I'm going to say, if you're going to pick Enchanter, you go gnome or else you go home. But alrighty, thank you guys all so much for watching. It's been fun to make this best race class guide thing. I don't even know. But thank you guys all so much for watching and the support.